Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. There is, of course, that saying, he who pays the piper calls the tune. In this case, the piper is Keir Starmer, and those who are paying are the unions. The TUC conference opens this week. I think it's in Brighton, and it's the first time in, 15 years that a TUC conference has been called and is being held under a Labour government. And the unions, well, to say they're not happy would be rather an understatement. They are furious, to put it bluntly. They want a lot of restoration. But the things they're asking for, I think, are way beyond what even Keir Starmer is prepared to stomach, let alone the rest of us, of course. Now, we've already seen massive pay rises for the doctors, 22%, and for the train drivers, 14.25%. And the TUC say that this must continue. It absolutely must. Now, they've got a whole list of demands, and they are absolutely bonkers if they think that this is in any way going to happen. They want realistic pay rises for every public sector worker. And by that, they don't just mean a good pay rise, in line with inflation. They mean you go back until the last day of the last Labour government, work out what the wages that were then, apply all the inflation that has occurred in that period, and apply it to wages. They want what they call restorative wage rises, so that the past 14 years will have seen wages rising with inflation to be at the levels they should be for public sector workers today, which is way, way lower than where they currently are, because they've virtually always been below inflation rises, especially when inflation was running at 10 and 11% just a year ago. This is unaffordable. This is tens of billions of pounds that Labour don't have. I mean, they could have it if they hadn't pissed it away and given 11 billion away to foreign countries, but they decided that that was more important than looking after the people in this country, and that's their choice. They are the government for now. But that's only the start of it with the unions. Apart from the restorative pays for all public sector workers, they also want the government to pay the compensation to each and every worker in the country who failed to be given the correct holiday time over the last few years. What they're saying is, especially lower paid, gig economy, people on fixed or short-term contracts, people on 0 hours contracts, that sort of thing, have been unable to take the time off. And they want all of that repaid as well. And if that madness doesn't scare you, it just gets worse. They want shorter working weeks. They want more pay for the minimum wage to rise significantly. They want at least an extra £1 on the minimum wage. They want more holiday days. These are sort of things that it's like somebody sat round a table in a gin palace going, "Oh, what can we ask for? Come the revolution, brothers." They're totally impossible. It would destroy productivity. How, they say, are we going to fund it? Well, they want a massive rise in corporation tax, which is a strange thing because ultimately people pay corporation tax. They want a massive rise in capital gains tax. But again, if you're going to get punished for capital gains, why would anyone invest in Britain in capital when they can go elsewhere and invest and not pay that huge tax? It's a disincentivization to invest. But of course, they don't understand that because they're socialists and therefore stupid. On top of that, as well, they want a wealth tax. What happens when you introduce a wealth tax? Well, the wealthy FRO, don't they? They leave. And instead of just getting that little bit of extra tax at the top, you lose not only that little bit of extra tax, but all the tax below it, because all that money's gone. Again, they don't understand that because they're socialists and therefore incredibly stupid. They don't have any grasp of macroeconomics, and that's frightening considering how much power they have. Now, they're already threatening Starmer with strikes. They're saying that if he doesn't capitulate, doesn't bend the knee to the unions, they're going to strike. And worse, for the Labour Party at least, they're going to withhold funding. Now, a lot of Labour MPs rely on the union funding for their campaigns and things. How do you think these backbenchers are going to respond? Well, I'll tell you how they're going to respond. They're going to respond probably early this week when we have that vote on the winter fuel allowance. Because yes, the unions have demanded that the winter fuel allowance is turned back. They want it. They don't want that taken away. They want pensioners to have that winter fuel allowance. And if you're some little backbencher who's reliant on, say, Unite or the GMB to fund your campaign at the next election, which way are you going to vote? Especially as you know, the vast proportion of the country also want this reversed. Also, you know in your heart of hearts it's wrong. Which way do you vote? I think Starmer has a bigger rebellion problem than he realises. There's at least, I think, 30, maybe more, going to rebel. He can't take the whip from all of them, can he? And so the unions really do have total and utter control over Starmer, over the Labour Party, over the backbenchers, over the ministers. None of them are now independent. They're all beholden to the madness of the unions. And it was ever thus, of course, with the Labour Party. One only has to look back to the last time when they had major power in the 70s, the 3-day week, the power cuts, the coal strikes. Every other week, it was either British Leyland or Ford were out on strike. This is the madness. Then came the winter of discontent. That took years to get to the winter of discontent. This time, the winter of discontent will be in the first 6 months of this government. And Starmer doesn't know how to respond because Starmer can't talk to people. He doesn't understand other human beings. He doesn't understand how to negotiate. He says and expects it to happen. But that's not how the unions operate. And I think Starmer is about to find that out in a very, very hard way. Oh dear, what a shame. Never mind. Let me know what you think. Let me hear your views. And until next time, I will speak to you later. Bye.